how do you make your backlog refinement even better?
Hi folks, welcome back to the Everyday Agile YouTube channel with me, Jack Hughes.
If you're an organisation looking to experiment with agile ways of working, it's probably a good idea to know where to start.
What is Agile methodology? Agile with a capital A was based on 4 values, 12 principles.
We've got to where we are by having those values and principles, practices that we've learned over time in place.
Hi everyone, Jack here from Everyday Agile. Now, whether you're a product owner, scrum master, developer, team member, or anyone in between, today I'm going to be talking about how you can enhance your product backlog refinement. So let's look at what the 2020 version of the Scrum Guide has to say about backlog refinement. So according to the Scrum Guide, product backlog refinement is the act of breaking down and further defining product backlog items into smaller, more precise items. This is an ongoing activity, more on that later, to add details such as a description, order, and size. Attributes often vary with the domain of work. So what does that actually mean in terms of benefits of refining your backlog? So if we want the team to make better decisions together, then the act of refining the backlog is going to widen that cognitive diversity. Cognitive diversity is brought to life by Matthew Said in his book Rebel Ideas. In the book, he outlines cognitive diversity in this way. If you imagine a rectangle with a circle on the bottom left-hand corner, the circle representing the leader. If that leader surrounds themselves by people who think just as they do, then we are missing out on the rest of the rectangle. Meaning, cognitive diversity in this team is going to be relatively low. What we want is the rest of this rectangle being filled up. We know that people have different ideas from different experiences and different ways to solve problems that could be brought to the table. So that's what refinement is going to encourage. Constantly refining the backlog is potentially going to reduce the amount of surprises during the sprint, because the team is going to be thinking about any potential risks and dependencies before they happen. It can ensure the team are focusing on the highest priority items in that product backlog. It gives those outside of the team a chance to articulate what they need from the team and what you may need from them. Now, in an ideal world, we wouldn't want the team really to be dependent on anyone else, but we don't live in an ideal world. So giving those people a chance will only help when it comes to sprint planning. It's a chance to talk about any technical complexity, which again is going to help when you start forecasting the work in sprint planning. Often, a hard refinement can make for an easier planning. So moving on to some refinement techniques. In my experience, referring to the definition of done is a good compass for when the team are deciding whether a piece of work is ready to be worked on. It also won't be a surprise that I recommend Liberating Structures to help facilitate these refinement sessions. The particular technique that I like is 1, 2, 4, all. I'll link further information about that specific technique in the description below. But very quickly, you give people an opportunity to reflect on their own. They then pair up with someone else so they can exchange ideas and thoughts. They then get into a group of 4 and then come back together as a team where hopefully a lot of the ideas and the problems would have been surfaced to make the conversation that bit more productive. Following the 15-5 rule may also be a good idea, meaning that you spend no more than 15 minutes discussing a particular product backlog item. Of course, you can go back to the product backlog item at a different time, but sometimes people need that headspace and that clarity to come back and talk about it again. The 5 element of the 15-5 rule means that if you're facilitating refinement, try not to let any unproductive conversations go beyond 5 minutes. And the final technique for today, although simple, is constantly asking yourselves, what could go wrong with this product backlog item? If you've thought of it, that doesn't mean everyone else has. So note it down, and it could be from a technical, a user, or from an operational point of view. What could go wrong with this product backlog item? Moving on from techniques onto things to look out for when it comes to refinement. You don't always need the whole team to refine the product backlog. There is nothing more demoralizing than having the whole team there in a room talking about something that half of them are never going to work on. Have the relevant people refining those particular product backlog items. As we know, refinement is an activity, and it doesn't always need a facilitator. But if you are in that position, look out for people trying to prove their intelligence by shooting down other people's ideas. These people are going to limit the psychological safety in the room, and to be honest, they're going to limit that cognitive diversity that I referred to earlier. Everyone has good ideas. It's not up to the one person to dominate the refinement. Document your decisions. I don't really care what tool you're using, just document what is being discussed. Remember, a hard refinement will lead to an easier planning. In saying that, we don't want the team to excessively detail the product backlog items. We want them to hold on to that autonomy so they can come up with their solutions and be creative to meet the goal when it's in place. Estimation, if you are using an estimation technique, which you don't necessarily have to, is a byproduct of refinement. It is not the aim. So for those at the back, keep in mind, estimation can be a byproduct of refinement. It is not the aim of refinement. All you story point perverts out there, keep that in mind.
Get off my property, you pervert.
If you're refining with a remote team, short, sharp huddles will probably be more productive than long, drawn-out meetings. Always keep in mind that refinement is an activity, not an event. So, in summary, you'll be sick of me saying this by now, but refinement is an activity, not an event. Always remember that. Refinement should be continuous. If you're a product owner, refinement is a good percentage of your accountability. The whole team don't always need to be there. If you are using a digital tool, maybe think about chunking the product backlog up into things like to be refined, sprint ready. This can take away any ambiguity on what the team should be looking at next. 1, 2, 4 all is a great way to facilitate a refinement conversation. Estimation can be a byproduct of refinement, but it's not the goal. If you have a team contract or working agreement, referring to it at any sort of refinement activity could also be a good idea. Ultimately, backlog refinement is like exercising during winter. You may not want to do it, and it won't feel as good in the short term as eating that bar of chocolate or writing that extra bit of code. But ultimately, it will make your product healthier. And as I've said throughout this video, a hard refinement can equal an easier planning. If you enjoyed this video, it would mean the world if you gave it a big like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.